everyone. Welcome to Jasiri, the show where we African women talk about life experiences from our own personal realities. Now, I'm Oluchi Enobong, and I have some lovely ladies with me in the studio. But I'll first like to say this, that when I was in secondary school, my favorite subject was biology.
That's interesting. It's not a, I know why.
You're thinking what? Finance?
I don't know. I was just wondering.
Business?
I was just
Studies?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Jasiri. My name is Sheila Ojei, and in secondary school, my favorite subject was math.
Wow. Shock me, please.
Yes.
No. Welcome. It's such an honor to be here every time I'm sitting down with these beautiful women. In secondary school, I've always been a literary child, so it has to be literature.
Really?
Sure, I read stories and wrote stories.
You're in the industry. I mean, someone like me who was a pure science student all the way, first degree,
That's why you liked your
microbiology.
waist singed. It's biological.
Anyway, today on the show, we're talking about securing the bag in 2022. Now, there are different ways to do that, but today's episode, we'll be talking about investing, getting your feet wet, looking at investment options. Now, investing can be really scary, and that's why we have a guest who'll be walking us through getting started with investments and securing the bag. Welcome back to Jasiri. Now, today's topic is all about securing the bag in the year 2022. Now, when it comes to money, there's lots of money to be made out there in the world, in Africa and even outside Africa. But it seems like women are not making as much of it as the men. Now, research shows that women are less likely than men to have learned about investment. Now, our guest, Solafunmi Sosanya, is a serial investor, personal finance enthusiast, and founder of Wealth Motley. Now, Solafunmi, I mean, when I hear that and I read your CV just a little bit, I come to realize, hold on, your background isn't even in finance.
No.
Nothing at all to do with finance. In fact, you were in media, that's your background.
Yes, I'm still in media.
How did you find yourself in investing and finances and anything that has to do with ego?
In one word, hustle. There's no other way, hustle. Because, I think just like a lot of African women, especially Nigerian women, I probably sold everything from hair to shoes, to clothes, to baby clothes, whatever is sellable. And I just said one day that there has to be another way to make money instead of having to always sell or something. So I started researching and just reading and reading and reading. And from reading, I discovered a lot of investment assets that we're not doing, that nobody's telling us about, that we are not being taught. And that's how Wealth Motley started. It started for me just investing and then talking about those investing on my personal page and people reaching out and saying, please tell me, how do you buy this? Oh, you buy stocks of Apple? You mean I can buy it here in Nigeria with my Naira? And that's how Wealth Motley started. And that's how I started talking about it. And you're very right. A lot of women just do not understand or do not do it or leave it to their husband or leave it to their partners to say, he's the one that handles the money. The premium tears.
I actually am so excited that a lot of women are getting more into finance. And there's this syndrome every year that everybody gets into this pressure in January where everybody makes all kinds of resolutions. How do you think is the healthiest way to set like a financial resolution? Is it even good to do it in the beginning of the year, or you just let the year roll and see how things work?
I think it's not a time-related thing. It's a mindset thing. That's what I found out. And I usually live by very simple rules because if it's hard, here, my sister, it will not happen in my destiny. It's not part of anything hard, is not part of my destiny. If it's more than 2 + 2, I won't understand it. So that's why I try to keep everything that I do. And when I talk about finance, I try to keep it as simple as possible. Because I feel like the biggest problem that we have as women, or even as Africans really, is just the fact that we find things too hard. And that's what happens when finance people talk about finance. They talk about it with their financial jargons and all of those alpha this better that you don't understand. So when I learned about personal finance, I learned it as a media person. So literally, like very little. So I keep all of my talk or all of my understanding in that very simple way of understanding finance. So if I was going to tell you anything that you can do, starting the year, a resolution about finance and stuff, I keep it very simple. You can do it anytime. The first thing is living within your means. That's the biggest problem we have. A lot of people have. Man, women, anything. I always say that it's only in finance that you can be a lovely size 16 and you would sew a size 8 cloth and you will squeeze your ample bosom into it. It is only in finance. There is nothing like cut your clothes according to your size. For you to really be wealthy and to save and to invest and stuff, you have to cut your clothes below your size. Let it be, your small sister size, and squeeze yourself into it. If you keep that one rule, that, I believe, is the beginning of any money getting wealth without doing rituals and all the other things. But if you really want to do it on your salary, on what you're making, it starts from living below your means. Can you do that in January? Absolutely. But can you do it any time of the year? Yes, you can. So it's not a January thing. It's about, if you do that one thing, cutting your clothes below your size, living below your means, is as simple as that. That's one rule I always tell everyone that you can do. There are other things you can also do. Try to negotiate a raise at the office, or hustle like me, get a side hustle, start selling all of those things, your neighbor needs, everything to bring money inside. Good. Or sell your time. All of those things are there. But I think nothing suppresses the very first rule of living below your means, cutting your costs below your size.
That's words on marble. I almost said, scratch that.
So thank you so much for that. That actually explains a lot of things. And yes, you are right. Especially around here, our bills tend to increase.
Exactly.
And I think sometimes I feel like the illusion of our bills increasing, or our bills increasing, is actually an illusion, because when we earn more money, we subconsciously start increasing.
God bless you.
Our
That
expenses,
is that's
and our
the
lifestyle.
So
it
starts
increasing.
that's the biggest issue we have as people. I'll give you a quick analogy. Imagine you were earning 100K. And on that 100K, you realize you have to pay school fees, you have to be in the house, pay your house rent, do everything. And you still have to eat meat, to get nutritious food and stuff. So you manage on that 100K, and you don't die. You manage, you do what you can, you go Uber when you can. If you can't go to Owambe, you won't go. All of those things you manage. Now, the second a lot of us get a raise to 200K, now they decide that the water they used to use to clean their bum is not good enough. You have to use luxury toilet paper. They have to decide that the protein they were managing, you eat meat, twice a week, all of those things. They decide now, it's snails. I cannot eat meat again. I have to eat snails. So before you know it, you improve your lifestyle, you increase your lifestyle to match exactly what you're earning, and you effectively negate the raise you've gotten. That's the biggest issue with us. And you see it play out in someone that earns 100K, in someone that earns 2 million.
Wow. So now a lot of people have also tried this investment option. A lot of people have had their fingers burnt. But can you tell us one or two of the signs that we can look out for to know if these people online, are they really there or are they really not
I
Don't go
understand.
there, because I know how much I lost to foreign.
Let me tell you, that's why I always say when I talk about investing, my sister in the Lord, I always say that the biggest thing you can do is understand what you're doing. And what do I mean? If you were going to learn anything about investing today, never invest in something you don't understand. Now, you might not understand it in the entirety of it, but let me give you an analogy. You know that when we talk about the digestive system, hello, sister biology.
How are you?
When you talk about the digestive system, we say that you understand that food enters your mouth, it goes through your esophagus, gets into your stomach.
Small intestine,
the,
big intestine.
yes, the good one goes into the small, the bad one goes into the big intestine, and then out through your bum. Beautiful. Now, that's the digestive system. Everybody understands that, right? But I didn't tell you that for your food to really get from your esophagus to your stomach, there's something called the pyloric sphincter that has to open up. It's that sphincter that becomes very loose when we are pregnant and you start regurgitating back food. There's something called the pyloric. I didn't tell you of the complex peristaltic movements that happens in the intestines for your food to move from your gut into your anus. All of those things are there, but I didn't give you all those stories. Yeah. But you understood the digestive system in the basic form of food entering and stuff. Any investments that you do not understand in that very simple way, don't put your money into it. That's as simple as it is. So if someone is coming to tell you that if you buy silver this morning, tomorrow morning, because you have bought silver, 10 people bought it, so you will make this and go. If you cannot understand how the money will be moving from their pocket to your pocket, don't put your money into it. And if a lot of us put that filter in front of us when we're investing, I promise you that you might get scammed 1 or 2 times, but you won't get scammed because you would, by the time you start looking at the 1, 2, 3, 4, you start seeing that it's not jelly.
So we spoke briefly about, cutting your coats according to size and everything.
Below your size. That's a new one now.
Sister, you will go below your size.
Below your size. Below your size, right? But then there's a lot of times, especially if you're like a salary earner, over here you often feel like I need to make money to be able to invest.
Yes.
Investment is seen as things for rich people, right? I need to hammer, then let me cover my bills, then I can invest, right? Now, as a salary earner, how can a salary earner be able to invest? Is it something that is possible? And if it is possible, which is why you're here,
which is why I'm investing,
which is why you're
a salary
investing as
earner,
well. What sort of percentage is there, and how do you start?
So if you go online, you see different formulas for investing. You invest this, invest that, percent and stuff. Like I told you in the beginning, if you put all those numbers together, I will fail it because I won't understand it. The simple rule that I follow, and I haven't seen it anyway, but it happens. It's just the same. The simple rule that I follow is I do what is called the 80-20 rule. 80% goes to everything I want to do, 20% doesn't belong to me, or 20% is my real salary that will go out to work for me. What do I mean by that? A lot of us, when we get paid, you know that if you are, of course, salary earners, a lot of us, okay, salary earner like me, say ho. Anyway, so a lot of us salary earners, before you see your money, government has moved their tax, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful. So even though your gross salary might be 50 million, you know that once the real one is entering, that gross is not yours. Government has moved all of their own. So you have to decide to become your own government. So you earn 100K. Once that 100K comes in, and if you have in your mind to become rich in any way on that salary, to become wealthy enough to invest on that salary, you have to tell yourself, I don't earn 100K. I actually earn 80K. And everything you want to do has to fit into that 80K. That 20K or 20% doesn't exist. That money, that 20K is what becomes your slave and goes out to work for you. That's what you invest. Because when you invest, you legally buy slaves. And that money, a lot of us here are strong, agile women, we are hustling, we want to be rich, but you can barely work for 24 hours. You become tired. But you see your money, it will work 24/7, 365 days a year, and it will not get tired. It will outlive you, it will outlive your children and their children. That's why we hear of the Rockefellers and co today, because their money outlived them. So if you learn to dam those resources and tell yourself, in that simple rule, that rule changed my life. I told myself I was earning 80% of what I earned, and the remaining 20%, I put it to use and turned it into my own slave. And that slave was going out to make money for me while I was also working to make money. And you know what happens? Your first 80%, let's say your salary is 100K. Your first 80K, you move 20K, it looks small, like just 20K. How would I invest with this one now? But just do it again for the next month. Another 20K becomes 50% of your salary. In less than 4 months, you have saved your full 1 month salary. And it's like a joke. Before you know it, at the end of the year, you have saved 3 months salary just by saving 20% of your earnings. That's the simple way.
Wake up to a new dawn. Wake up to the brightest breakfast show on the African continent.
I am Oluchi Enobong.
My name is Olisa Chukuma, and you're watching Breakfast Central.
From the top stories, latest reports across Africa, sports, entertainment, interviews, and much more. Africa finally has a home. Wake up to the home of breakfast.
This is Breakfast Central.
Weekdays, Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 a.m. West African time, only on New Central TV.
Welcome again. If you are not gaining for this particular episode, then I don't know what I'm going to have to do for you, because we are securing the bag this year, 2022. You've been hearing a lot of tips about the kind of investment not to put your money in. I'm sure Solafunmi will be telling us right now some of the good investments you need to look out for, because some people actually think putting their money in the bank is the only good investment you can make. Please dissuade their mind.
I think that's the story of savings versus investing. A lot of us grew up that way. Everyone tells you to put your money in the bank. You have money in the bank. Have you made bank? All of those things. But the truth is, did you know that the bank only gave you 0.5% a year? On your
Not up
money?
to 1%.
Not up to 1%. Plus, they will deduct all of those SMS charges, all of those things. So at the end of the day, you are losing money putting your money in the bank. Now, that's just the simple mathematics. But the truth is this: what is the inflation rate? The 100K that you had in January 2021, if you wanted to buy something with it today, are you going to be able to buy the same amount of things with it? So the inflation is about 16% already in the last 12 months in Nigeria. So if you put 100K in the bank, what you actually have at the end of the year is about 85K. So you have lost money. But if you invest your money in the right place, in the right investments that beat inflation, those are the things you want to look for in an investment. Is this investment going to give me enough percentage that would beat the Nigerian inflation, or at least put my money at par with it? So that means whatever investment you're doing in the first instance has to have as much interest that it gives you, that it beats inflation. That's the first thing that people don't understand. If you had 100K in 2007 and that same 100K now, that money is actually less than 50% of its worth, because you've lost virtually. But if you invested it in the right investment that beats inflation, then you still have your money. Or you invest it in a currency that's better than the Naira, and it's not losing funds. So these are some of the things you want to look out for in a good investment. Does it beat inflation? Let me give you a quick way. I try to give analogy so people understand what I'm trying to say. Let me give you a quick one. Now, you know the president of New Zealand, that beautiful lady, I forget her name now, yeah? She's sitting in this place. And you have, our boo-boo sitting here. And you had money to give both to invest. Now, based on track record and what they've done, who would you give your money to? You see? Just like that. That's how you make the decision when you want to invest in a company. Now, that's why you see those people that went to give money to someone in Abuja, a particular perfume seller that they invested in. If you have looked at the person's track record and the person as a leader, how they make decisions, you won't put your money there, because you can already tell. Whereas, if you wanted to invest in Apple, you have their track record. A lot of us use their phones. You know who Tim Cook is. You know what's the name of the lovely guy that died, that sort of, Steve Jobs. You know who he is. That's great. If I wanted to invest in Amazon today, I know who Jeff Bezos is. I know the track record of that company. So essentially, when you invest in a company or in any project, you are investing in the leaders, in the ability of those leaders to make good decisions with your money, your hard-earned money.
Now, Solafunmi, you just mentioned some very big brands, and a lot of people don't think they have the capability to invest in those kind of big brands, especially from Africa or Nigeria. They feel the currency we're using.
How much do you have? Can
so
50,000 naira buy Hapu product?
I'm so excited to be saying this. Baba God, thank you. My sister, I thought exactly the same way, until I discovered that with as little as 500 naira, not dollars, 500 naira,
Which is about a dollar.
which is about a dollar,
Yeah.
I can invest in all of the Apples, the Amazons, the Nvidias, the Googles of this world.
don't
Stayed
say.
on my phone with. That's what changed my life. That realization that there are apps now in Nigeria where you can carry your 500 naira, 1,000 naira, and invest in companies that beat inflation, in good companies that you use and trust, in leaders that are, in companies that have useful mouth, in companies that have brands, names, great culture, that your money will grow. Those are the things that really changed my life. Let me give you a quick story. Again, not analogy, a quick story. Imagine most of us were still quite young in 1997. 1997 was the year that Amazon went public, so it went on the stock market to be bought. Yeah. Now, if in 1997 your mom maybe had some money, and in 1997 I remember very clearly, $1,000 was 90K. Why? Because my mother used to sell clothes, so we used to know all those things then. So if you had put $1,000 on Amazon shares when it IPO'd in 1997, that was 90,000 naira. Yeah. Today, I kid you not, when we finish this segment, please go on Yahoo Finance and Google this. Today, your $1,000, 90K, that was invested in that company in 1997 is worth $1.8 million today. What? I didn't say naira. $1.8 million in the right company. That's how to select a company to invest. That's how to beat inflation. And you can do it. You don't have to have, when I tell people about these things, they say, have you checked how much Amazon share is? Over $3,000. Where will I find it? You can buy Amazon shares. I've got Amazon shares of 500 naira. As urgent 2K enters my account. My husband sent money for food. The money is remaining. I throw it into my investment app and I buy shares with it.
A lot of women are getting more financially aware.
True.
Before, women were the people that made more money. We have entrepreneurs, we have our mothers selling. You know, the culture of money has been a woman thing. So how do we want to, graduate from those level of small little bits? Now we see people like you gather money from people together to make better investments. How can that work, even for those that are not so schooled?
All right, before you answer this, Solafunmi, we need to go on a quick break. I know this is very interesting for us to watch and learn, but when we come back, Solafunmi will be answering that question and much more.
Welcome back. I'm sure that your minds are really engaged as mine is on the show today. Before we went on that break, Solafunmi, we were asking you, how do we re-engineer the minds of women to be able to accept that we are not just small business owners? We can make big money decisions.
Absolutely.
How do we make that transition?
Absolutely. I think it starts with education. For someone like me, when I started investing, I decided that, I had all the big purses, all the 500K bags and go. And I woke up one morning and asked myself, I've worked 12 years in this career. And do I have only bags and shoes to show for it? Is that what my child is going to inherit when I leave, if something happens to me? So it's about us sitting down and saying in this same Instagram that, and by the way, in my group at Wealth Motley, we have over 3,000 people in our closed group. In the bigger groups, we have more. But in the closed group that we have over 3,000, 99% of us there are women. That's the thing. All the remaining 1% of men that came in are the ones that the wives and sisters dragged into and say, this place is where we are learning about money. That's how we do it. So it's about engineering ourselves in those same places where we're buying purses, because we have to live. It's only one life. It's also same places where we're buying purses and all of those things. It's starting to apply sense and letting hunger lead the way for us and understand that you cannot hustle forever. What are you going to live on the days where you cannot work? Investing is literally buying a day in your future where you don't have to work. That's what you do when you invest.
Wow. Buying a day in your future where you don't have to work.
That's what you don't have to invest. That is absolute wisdom. Thank you so much for that. So now we're going to go into eye candy, and eye candy is basically a quote which would have come across and how it applies to us as women and also to the topic at hand. So today's eye candy comes from Suze Orman. Suze Orman is a #1 New York Times bestselling author on personal finance with over 25 million books in circulation. And her quote says, "A big part of financial freedom is having your heart and mind free from worry about the what ifs of life."
Absolutely.
What do you think, Sheila, for me?
She couldn't have said it better, because a lot of us, when we chase money, when people chase money, they look for money because they want to buy the latest cars, they want to buy, live in a big house, enjoy, and all of those things. But like she said, the actual truth with investing or with having financial freedom is really waking up in the morning and not having anything to do, and not deciding you wanted to, and you decide this morning you wanted to go to Mauritius. You could go and sleep. It's just being free from worries. So she's right about the what ifs. She couldn't have said it better. And so it really just, it blows your mind when you start to realize that financial freedom or it's more than having to buy the biggest new cars and stuff. It's really about freeing yourself from worries and from problems.
For me, this quote has just made me realize that I'm in a cage. I'm in a cage because I haven't gotten to that level of financial freedom that I'm looking for. So I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I have my Solaris story. I've sold plenty of things. Is it from orange juice to pineapple to selling slippers to selling clothes, to selling jewelry? So I've had my own share of Solaris story, but this is just letting me understand that despite what I'm doing, I still need to focus and have my eye on the goal,
prize.
on
Absolutely.
the main thing I'm looking for to get that freedom that I'm longing for.
Honestly, for me, this year alone, I have only one goal, is to change your association. This year I've heard so much about the circle you keep. You need to invest in the relationships that enrich. I know that a lot of you think about relationships in terms of, oh, she's nice to me. You must have aspirational friendships and inspirational friendships.
Absolutely.
That means friendships that you are looking up to and those that are looking up to you. And this year, I actually want to put myself in the middle of people that know about money. I have worked. In fact, in the early years, I invested so much in my career and my talent. I didn't understand the instrument of money and its use. But I tell people, you don't have to worry yourself. From the moment you know, start to make changes.
God bless you.
In another 10 years from now,
Exactly.
that means you would probably get to where they have gotten,
Or be way ahead.
or way ahead of
because
them.
you invested.
So you would have understood it. So don't beat yourself over.
No.
Make that change now. Period.
So for me, before I even say anything, so basically Solafunmi is now your new best friend.
That's
That's what you're trying to
The way
say.
I'm dumping you,
That's what you're trying to say. That's really where I get you. I see where you're going with this. But so for me, it's really about having your mind and heart free from worry, and what ifs of life. A lot of times when you're making money, just like you said, you're constantly. Like in my head, I keep saying that when money enters my account, it's actually gone before it actually hits my account, because it's like I need
The
to
bills are waiting.
and then by the time I'm done with the bills, it's like, oh, what's left? And so for me, that gets into that level of financial freedom where I don't have to think about all these things, and I guess it goes back to that first tip of cutting your coat below
your size.
your size. Right, and not falling into that illusion of I'm a big girl now, so I can do big girl things, right? So that's really what it is for me, that this quote, and just taking from that, just going from that, and just saying my key takeaway really from this, like in everything that Solafunmi has said, and she has said so much, like a lot of key points. But for me, it's really just cutting your coat below your size.
Wow.
That's my key takeaway.
Amazing. Honestly, I have only one song in my head, and that's Tenny's song. I wanna be a billionaire in dollars.
Yes,
and
sir.
another foreign interesting progressive currency. Honestly, this year, if you haven't set any goal, you need to set a goal to expand your mind. Be not ashamed to put more stuff in your head so that your future can be what you want it to be.
Absolutely.
And for me, my own takeaway this time around is to ensure that you have the financial freedom and you're ready for that opportunity when it comes hitting. It's never too late. They say the best time to start or to make that decision is yesterday, and the second best time is today.
It's today.
So you're never too old for it. And on that note, to say thank you so much. Thank you for always coming. It was such a beautiful
Oh, I
time.
love talking to you guys. I think your show is amazing.
So you're my new best friend.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so to all the African women out there, we always say, be bold,
Be
be
strong,
strong, and
and
be a
be a
Jasiri
Jasiri woman.
woman.